Welcome to ALC314, Advertising Designing Desires. This is some resources for you as you're getting yourself ready to do your discussion board this week, and also to get through your readings. So I want you to think about these things as you collect your own catalog of images that relate to what you do with advertising. So one way of understanding advertising is that it is an indirect form of communication. It is a technique of communication that surrounds the events, practices, activities, and things that we are genuinely engaged with, like watching a television program. So I'd like you to think of advertising as ambient communication. Our first discussion board for week one is to get us thinking about the kind of advertising that surrounds your everyday life. I have tried to construct the kinds of promotional messages in the series of images attached here, just below, that I've passed through but experienced. In other words, it could be on the street, could be anywhere. You make that decision when you make your collection of images as well. But I've experienced them. They're kind of indirect. This unit will make what is often ambient communication into something that you analyze quite closely and vigorously. It's going to change the way that you look at advertising. You move what is background, advertising is background, remember it surrounds other products, into the foreground, which is the essential goal of advertising. So these images that I'm putting up are what I see around me when I'm walking, when I'm sitting, or I'm on the lounge, when I'm on a train perhaps, where a train stops. And not all of them are necessarily ads, as they're understood. According to Fletcher, which is one of your readings, there is a difference between what it is an advertisement and some of these other things. And I want you to do the same thing. Try to discern what you see. Is it an advertisement? Did someone pay for this? Did they pay for its location? Did they pay some other body some sort of exchange of money to actually put it there? Did they pay a company to make it? Those are signs that it's an advertisement, but they're not all advertisements. So I want you to do that same thing and work out which one of the things that you see that are promoting something at you is in fact an advertisement, which ones aren't. But they are all the ones I pick, and probably I'm hoping all the ones that you pick, they're all forms of promotion. They're forms of communication that are meant to draw, well, my attention, but our attention more generally. And I want you to think pretty deeply about how they do this. So here's a guide which is going through and running through the ambient communication environment of promotion. All right? It's going to be a guide, kind of look at the images that I've looked at. So we'll now take a look at the first one. This first image is I walk by I call it a pharmacy, I guess you guys call it a chemist, and I see this wild display of Difflam, red and white everywhere. Looks insane to me, actually. The name means very little to me, probably also because I come from Canada originally, and maybe Difflam is a powerful word, but all it's talking about is sore throats and terrible bad throat. All those sorts of images are everywhere, and you've got this idea that something really bad is happening. So why would a chemist put this on a picture? So the actual name means, as I said, little to me, but it also kind of has, it sounds like other medicinal names that you hear. It doesn't quite make sense, but you think it's vaguely Latin, potentially, some sort of medicinal Latin, I suppose, and a brand construction. So how does this work? So this is a display window. Well, I'm walking, it's winter, and I'm walking by this chemist, and they are yelling at me through this. They're yelling out to me that if I have any association between winter, cold, and ill health, this is the place where I want to be. It may not work, it looks a little crazy to me, but on another level, The next time I feel like I have something a little sore in my throat, it's likely I'm going to go to that chemist. All right, the second one on my list is I'm walking again. I walk quite a bit. You can see I have a Fitbit, so I walk a bit. And in the distance, I see this small logo in front of a store, McDonald's, fairly famous with its giant M up in the high there, but somebody's ripped off the M of McDonald's on it. And there's this tiny little thing saying something a little bit different than what we've seen before. And it seems a bit odd. The new sign, create your own. It's kind of a weird do-it-yourself McDonald's. A little bit like the way Starbucks constructed an image of that you're getting more true and authentic coffee. So it's a really odd and bizarre juxtaposition that McDonald's is doing. They're saying that they're a bit more earthy than they used to be, that you can do it yourself, and yet you're dealing with highly fabricated food. Does it work? Well, not for me, but create your own is maybe some way that they're hitting a target market and playing off what all the other fast food chains are trying to do. I can do more at McDonald's than anywhere else. Let's go on to the next one. The third one is pretty interesting too. And it is on a bus shelter. If you can see it there, you can see that a couple of things should come to mind as you look at this. And one of the ones is I'm still walking, right? So I'm still on a street somewhere. And this is a bus stop, right? So you're hanging out at a bus stop, or you're going by it in a car. You see these things and you see something that is vaguely familiar. And the familiarity is actually that you see this Australian actor that you might have seen before. I can't identify the name. And that's critical, but it's enough to situate that this drama is, yes, banished. So it's a quite aggressive sort of title, but is appealing very specifically to an Australian audience. There's something about this that's getting back to our I'm saying it in the collective sense, our convict past. And it's trying to pull us in, but it's pulling us in a very particular way because it advertises as well. BBC First, Foxtel, Fetch TV. And one of the things that's changed in terms of the way television is given to us right now is a bit more binge TV watching. So it's a new series, yes, but it's also potentially a new series that you can watch slightly differently on Fetch TV on your iPhone 6. So let's take a look at the next one. Anyway, these are kind of interesting things, but they're all in my little environment as I walk through my scene. But some things, I'm not walking. I am hanging out on my phone. And this one's a little harder to see because it's too big for my lovely computer screen here. So you're gonna have to scroll down when you look at this as well. But you can see it's sort of a montage of beautiful tennis images, elegant people swinging forehands all over the place, people that I would recognize. So it's already established a target market. This is the Wimbledon app. And if you think of it, it has the logo of the championships, and you can see that it's advertising those sorts of things, but it's not really an ad, right? It's a product, it's information. And I'm getting clear-cut news on this as well. But there is one thing that is advertised. We have IBM. IBM is attaching itself to Wimbledon the championships. So there's a couple of things that are going on with that. One is it's making an association that it is some sort of information leader, but it's also sophisticated because it's an app. It's a technology leader as well. And this is the place, the new place, the best place, the most authentic place to actually get the results of Wimbledon. So it works for Wimbledon, makes people watch it, makes people follow it, but IBM is virtually the only ad, or the only, in this case, it's not really an ad, it's a sponsorship. And let's go on to the next one. We'll go here and on to our next one, which is, this is an odd one, a different odd one. I'm on a train this time. I'm at Burnley Station. The train has stopped for just a moment. And I see on this old, kind of dilapidated building, stop logging our water catchments. In front of it, there's an ad. So you see that our ambient communication is just filled with different things going on at the same time. Some political campaign of stop logging our catchment. It's not an ad, it's graffiti. But at the same time, it's working in the same environment of trying to push messages at you. Push messages at you when you are maybe most susceptible. You're just hanging there. You're not really thinking about anything else. And then someone tells you, my goodness, they're logging right beside where we get our water. That's really bad. I'm not sure why. I might have to find out more. But the ad works, if you can call it an ad. It isn't really. The graffiti works to push you to think about these things. It's interesting, I suppose, that it's done for thousands of people as they go along this Lilydale line. All right, let's go to the last two I think we have. Oops, better click on the right button here. I find this one really interesting, but let's see how the image comes forward for me right now. It's loading now. Now this is something that you normally don't think of as a commercial. Right? It's number 16. I'm watching video clips on one at Channel V on television, right? So I'm on Foxtel. And in this situation, I suddenly realize that as the music is ending and I've seen this clip, I realize that I'm connected to Pitch Perfect 2 soundtrack, if you see that at the bottom. And I'm attached to Jessie J, and her song is called Flashlight. Now on one level, it's entirely a piece of music. I'm just listening to music. On another level, the video clip is exactly like an advertisement. It's putting an association with the music to deepen it in some way, make it more valuable to you, make it something that you want, or associations that you find desirable, whether it's the movie itself or whether it's the actual performer or the actual music. We have a bunch of commodities that are being sold here and put out, and you have to do something with these things. So is a video clip an advertisement? Well, I like to think it is, but technically it's a kind of promotion. A promotion that is very much paid for, but it's played for free, apparently, by the broadcaster. Now let's take a look at our last one. And this one is back up at the chemist. Kind of again, intriguing what's going on here. Incredibly healthy looking seniors running along a beach. And they're trying to advertise that this particular place is a great place to stay healthy. Like, these guys have no arthritic conditions in any of their joints apparently. And they're running along, but they recognize that this could be the best place for them to do health screening, blood pressure testing, bone test. Kind of scary stuff going on the right-hand side, but an image of incredible well-being. And one thing that advertising does consistently is produce almost a utopian notion of how we should negotiate our way through our lives. And it's a kind of communication that is saying this is the best thing that could happen in our society, but for ourselves within that society. Now, I want to finish up with just a couple of comments to get you going as you go forward in your analysis and what you're going to do on the discussion board. So the first thing is that we see that they all convey information. Advertising does, these promotions do. And they also are trying to persuade. So it's almost like a two-pronged approach that you see in almost every advertisement. They have target markets. And I didn't get deeply into that, but every once in a while I would say, this does not relate to me at all. And they play on emotion and association. So we associate good things with the things that are being produced, good feelings. So the product comes alive. It becomes something more than the object itself. It becomes the way that we use it. As Fletcher says, it's the end benefit is the main focus of advertising, not earlier on. Now the question is, and this is part of the readings too, are they good for our culture? Are they good for our economy? Is it good to have all these ads out there? Some say yes. They add value. They are an efficient and concise form of information that helps us make our choices, our consumption choices. And some people, and you'll see it in the reading, say that this is an incredibly efficient system because it simplifies things into emotions and we make decisions much more quickly based on whether we feel good about something. And so that saves us time. Interesting argument. Others say no. They say it's noise. Okay? And it is. I mean, I'm just walking around my neighborhood and I'm being invaded, in a sense, by these messages. It's noise. It's a kind of communication pollution that distorts our wants and desires. And even, as some say, puts our economy out of kilter. Okay? We're not really doing it on a very functional way. We're being moved by these different emotions and getting caught up by their values, which may not be our values, and linking them in some sort of way. So what I want you to do is go through your ambient communication environment, right? The things that are out there, and try to look at the promotions that are being put into your frame of vision, into your sound vision. I don't mind if you use other ones that I've used. I've used all, straightforward images. And look at how they try to capture your attention. Remember, they're always ambient. They're always surrounded. Other things that you may be interested in. Technically, when I'm walking, I don't want to get hit by a car. Okay? But I do look at these things a lot. And sometimes people who are close to me get a little bit concerned that I keep looking at these ads. So they might be kind of dangerous as well. So I want you to do this, but I want you to think about what these ads are doing, and I want you to analyze them with some of the terminology and post your images online so that other people can kind of get it. So use the readings, use this source that I've given you about how to analyze, and see how you go. Have a good time in week 1.